5-1, could you just have your attention for about 5 minutes? If you just face here. Guys, at the IP wave, just face this side. Network programmability. Guys, for network programmability. Can you hear me? Okay, I know you're deep into it, but just give me 1 minute of your attention. NTV, you don't have no choice, you have to face me. So, in the African community, not very many people have participated in open standards development. And we are very lucky to have a few people in the community who are attending the meeting. One of us is there, Professor Nabil. But there's someone who's been doing it for many years past. His name is Mr. S.M. Mr. S. Musami. How many had this name before? 1, 2 people. So he'd like to come and I invited him to say a few words about how he started and give you guys a few words of encouragement. So yes, don't scare them.
Good morning, good evening. Even I'm on a peu pour l'anglais et le français. Je suis SM. J'ai participé dans l'ITF à MSN. Can I do French or English? Yes. Okay, I'm going to charge you twice if you want to do language. J'ai participé dans l'ITF. I participated in l'ITF for some time. I don't know how long. I don't know how long, but I was there for a while. So, before I talk about myself, I'm going to ask you a question. Why are we here? Who best to do that?
I'm here to learn from the best and to make benefit from the network.
Who best to do that? Why are we here?
I'm coming from academia, so I want to know the best practices in terms of networking, security. So I want to go back home, expose my students to it, and then to network with. That's what.
Okay, Charles, I'm new to the idea. I'm going to ask you a question. What's the idea and why is it in Africa?
What's the ITF and why is it? Why should it be in Africa? Well, so the ITF stands for Internet Engineering Task Force. The internet definitely needs to be in Africa. I think we've all seen the benefit of having good internet connectivity, being able to get access to resources, being able to communicate with each other. That drives a lot of economies. That's a great way to enable a lot of new business models, a lot of economies within Africa. So being here, participating in the IETF, by learning the technologies and writing code relevant to IETF technologies, to me that's a very valuable thing, not only for the IETF, but for everyone here personally, something that you think can carry on with you that should help you as you move forward. So it's kind of a great win-win thing. You're contributing to the IETF by trying to implement the specs and feeding information back into the IETF about it, but you're also learning a lot and enabling yourself to use these new skills. So lots of good reasons.
I'm going to ask you a question. I don't have answers. I only have questions. Somebody like what participate in an idea? What does it mean to participate in an idea? What's going about it? Everybody? Oh! That's nice.
Because you will have an opportunity to understand how internet protocols and internet standards develop. So if you understand it, you can have an impact and contribution on the internet.
So your reason, the reason you're giving to participate in l'ITF, la raison que vous avez dit pour participation dans l'ITF, c'est pour comprendre comment marche les protocoles, to understand how the protocol works and how it's developed, comment c'est développé, et aussi pour avoir un impact sur l'Internet, pour avoir un impact dans l'Internet. Et vous?
How machines or application to exchange information. Yeah, so there must be an organization like IATF to make system all of the protocol communication.
Okay, the question was, how do you participate in ITF? How do you participate? How do you participate in l'ITF? Comment est-ce que vous participez? Qu'est-ce que vous faites? Actuellement, donc vous avez un conseil à donner à me donner, parce que je suis nouveau, d'accord? Qu'est-ce que vous allez me donner comme conseil pour participer dans l'ITF? What advice would you give me to participate in l'ITF? I tell you, okay, I went on this ITF.org website, I see a lot of stuff, and I love this ITF. Charles did a very, very nice speech, and now I want to participate. I'm new, I'm from Africa. What do I do? What would you answer?
So if I want to start participating in the ITF, I should first go to the ITF website, look into the all working groups that they have there, starting by reading some working group charters to see if it fits my curiosity. Then I can submit, join a working group and start exchanging emails and post comments and read the comments sent by participants in the mailing list like SM and other people. So then you can, for me it was, for example, that way, and one of the authors of our draft told me if I want to join to help in writing a draft, and it was a good opportunity for me. So it was the start. So you can find this opportunity because we are always looking for volunteers to write a draft, to help writing the draft, partir from the draft, etc. Donc si je veux vraiment commencer à participer à l'UDF, je dois absolument voir le site, lire les working groups, les groupes de travail qui sont là, lire leur charte pour voir est-ce que ça m'intéresse, le travail qu'ils veulent faire, qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent réaliser. Par la suite, j'envoie un email pour joindre la mailing list. Et je commence à voir les discussions qui sont là. Si ça m'intéresse, je peux aussi commenter. Donc, joindre la mailing list, ça ne me demande aucune sélection ou quoi que ce soit. Et je commence à participer, à voir cette discussion, sans m'enrichir. Ça m'aide à mieux voir les choses. Des fois, les discussions sont brutes, mais c'est intéressant. C'est intéressant. Il n'y a pas de règles de politesse, etc. Mais c'est vraiment comme ça que les standards naissent. Voilà.
I would say the same thing that it would be good to be focused by choosing the topic that you are interested in and topic that you feel that you can bring new ideas and work to enhance.
Okay, who among you are already subscribed to an ITF mailing list? 1, 2, okay, the question. La question est, combien de vous sont, en ce moment-ci, sont inscrits à une liste de diffusion de l'ITF? How many of you are subscribed to an ITF mailing list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that looks nice. Well, and Charles is not subscribed to the ITF mailing list, which is a problem. We should talk about it later. So, who would like to comment about what you see on the mailing list.
Merci beaucoup, c'est M. Abdelghili Bachar. Donc je me suis inscrit dans 3 mailing lists. 3 mailing Abdelghili Bachar, Tchad. Je me suis inscrit dans 3 mailing lists. Au début, je me suis inscrit dans les mailing lists générales. Donc, il était général. Donc, je reçois des messages. Donc, après, je me suis allé dans les groupes spécifiques. Donc, comme ça, je reçois des messages, etc. Il y a le groupe DNS Ops. Ça aussi, tout ce qui est DNS. Oui. Parce que 3 groupes. Donc, au début, c'est-à-dire qu'il faut quand même se focaliser sur quelques groupes d'abord. Il ne fallait pas s'inscrire dans plusieurs groupes. Et comme ça, on va bombarder avec des messages. Donc, avec 2, 3 groupes, comme ça, vous allez évoluer. Et donc, je lis toujours. Jusque-là, je n'ai pas fait de commentaires, mais j'observe. J'apprends et je lis. Et ce qui est bien, tous les messages sont publics. Donc, on peut aller remonter dans 5 ans, 6 ans et voir tous les messages et comprendre à le même niveau que les autres.
Okay, is track to 3 ITF mailing lists is on the general ITF discussion mailing list, ITF at ITF.org, where we discuss about ITF politics. It's a bit boring sometimes. Then it also subscribe to the DNS Ops, DNS Operations mailing list. So what it's doing is just reading the messages. All the messages, by the way, are publicly archived. It's accessible to everybody. What are the difficulties which you encountered? I mean, once you was, what do you find difficult?
Ce qui est difficile au début, tout est en anglais, ce qu'il faut dire, et maintenant d'un pays où, étant francophone, parfois c'est difficile à dire. Donc il fallait voir tous les mailing lists, lire, revoir, etc. en anglais. Ça c'est le premier challenge aussi. Deuxième challenge, c'est les niveaux de compétences. Quand vous rentrez, les gens sont au niveau 5, ou quelqu'un qui est au niveau 0 aussi. Donc il fallait, chaque mot, il fallait aller au niveau des drafts, revoir, etc. Ça veut dire quoi les mots. Donc chaque mot, ça amène à un autre mot, ça amène à un autre mot. Donc c'est un mot aussi. Donc c'est ça, grosso modo, les challenges, les compétences. Il faut apprendre les termes techniques, etc. Tout est en anglais. Donc ça aussi, jusque-là, je n'ai pas vu de contributions en arabe ou bien en français, etc. Donc c'est le but aussi de ces hackathons aussi.
What he encountered are 2 challenges. First of all, the language, because he's mainly a French speaker and most of the discussions are in English, first of all. And secondly, there was the question of, the level of the discussion. I would say, would you rate your, from 1 to 5, what is your level? How would you rate yourself? 1. And how would you rate the discussions which you're seeing on the mailing list? 15? C'est beaucoup. 10? Okay. So it's quite a challenge. We all started somewhere, whatever. I started somewhere. When I started, I found it difficult to participate in a way. It's a bit difficult to go and discuss with people which you haven't seen. You are seeing them having these high-level discussions in a way. At first,
I needed to read many these archives to catch
and in the IDF, we have a lot of people who have been in the IDF since a long time, which means that you have to read the archives. If I want to know what happened in 5 years back when we discussed about the same issues, I have to read the archives to understand the history. Okay, I'm going to ask you down. It's from my country, by the way. So, how did you start participating in the idea?
So, Miles,
Donc mon histoire en fait, elle est un peu unique. À l'université, je participais dans le développement d'OpenSSH et j'ai remarqué des choses. Et j'ai essayé d'améliorer ça en écrivant certains textes qui ont ensuite été rejetés par le working group parce que ça ne plaisait pas à certains. Ensuite, OpenSSH a fait quelque chose, donc c'était pas dans les specs, et ce que j'ai essayé de faire, c'est écrire un draft pour documenter cela. Donc une fois que ça a été fait, le working group a accepté, et ensuite j'ai dû travailler dur pour que ça devienne un RFC. Donc c'est vrai que ça prend du temps, mais comme je dis, comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, c'est pas impossible. It's not impossible to do it. Environ 8 mois, mais draft, c'est 8 mois. 8 mois. Et je pense que c'est bon, c'est en moyenne. Hein. Vu que pour moi, en fait, le nôtre, pour moi et moi, c'était que 4 pages. Mais par exemple, si vous regardez des drafts comme TLS 1.3, ça peut aller s'étaler sur 2-3 ans. Toujours pas. Donc, souvent, le problème, c'est qu'on n'arrive pas à plaire à tout le monde, en fait. C'est ça le problème.
D'habitude, je crois qu'il y a des statistiques pour l'application from first draft to RFC. C'est en 3 ans et 5 ans. Ça dépend des groupes. Disons qu'on a beaucoup de gens, on a 100 personnes. Parfois c'est compliqué parce qu'il y a divers points de vue. Il faut réconcilier ça et tout ça. Et parfois les gens ne sont pas actifs tout le temps. Ça peut prendre une année, 2 années. Ça dépend des working. Bon, j'ai entendu parler que vous faites ce qu'on appelle. Vous pouvez m'expliquer ce que vous faites ici? Vous pouvez commencer par la barre et passer par les 3 groupes. So, what is this? Try to explain to you what you're doing here. Qui veut le faire?
Je suis Ahmed Kobondo. Ici, nous travaillons plus sur les réseaux programmables. Nous travaillons sur les réseaux programmables et actuellement, nous avons essayé de parler des différents concepts liés au réseau programmable et de faire comprendre les notions liées au réseau programmable, au réseau traditionnel et la différence entre le réseau programmable et les réseaux traditionnels. Et au sortir de cette journée, nous avons pu comprendre qu'il y a une différence fondamentale qui existe. Le plan de contrôle est séparé du plan de données. Désormais, la partie intelligente est confiée à une ressource centrale qu'on appelle le contrôleur. Et c'est sur cette partie que désormais on va développer des applications et cette partie va se charger de définir les règles de transfert. Et aujourd'hui, cet après-midi, nous avons essayé de travailler sur les langages utilisés pour définir ces applications, tels que Python. Et pour le moment, nous sommes sur Python.
Et c'est le travail sur quelle idea working group?
Vous parlez après ce travail concerne quel groupe de travail au niveau de l'IED? Bon, je ne suis pas encore bien là.
Il y a quelqu'un qui va répondre? No. Charles, which working group did this work on? I think it's SDN Madrid.
It's from several different groups. We've talked about Yang, and so there's, and we've talked about NetConf, we've talked about RESTConf. The working groups would probably be the NetConf working group, the NetMod working group. However, Yang models are being defined in many, many different working groups. I'd say probably a dozen or more working groups are all defining Yang models for their particular area. So it's not like it's it's just one or two, it's a lot of the ops area, working groups, but it goes well beyond that as well. It's really quite prevalent in the IETF and in other standards organizations as well, are also defining gang models.
Content for overseas at 565. I forgot it's an old one, my way.
Which one?
Overseas at 565.
That was the one that said we needed something more than S&P, right?
Okay, that was a long time.
That was a long time ago.
And we have legal since that.
Maybe we've done a lot since then.
So what?
Yeah, so today we start with the entity presentation. Entity. No, the time protocol. Yeah, because it's for time synchronization. Like every machine need to be the same synchronized to the same symmetry time. So we work on the FTP implementation, and we have read the draft, and we made some changes on that.
And our question was before she went away. Which working group is the work? In which working group is the work that means this? In which working group is this draft being discussed?
It's the TikTok working group, which is the name for the NTP working group.
In the idea, I think our first most important thing which people in the idea is to find a name for a working group. And sometimes the name are quite original.
There are different header fields. If there is a client who wants to query or synchronize the time between the client and the server, so this is maybe around five fields, five headers at Revit. One of them is most important, which is transit time, and that should be randomized number. And the other field should be set to 0 in order to prevent him somehow fingerprinting for these fields and for some corruption.
So as he explained, the idea is to make the entity more secure.
Let me put it the way. Which program are you solving? Which problem?
You are sure that if your server your client try to synchronize the time from the server, are you sure that the exact time will be at your time as a server? No, you are not sure about that. This transmit time or delay from you send and receive. You send the request. You send the request to server. It takes time, and the server takes your request, and this is another request that it will take time in order to respond to your request. So there is an equation given by this team in order to handle or to minimize the difference or the delay between the time and the client and the time at the server.
So it's not really a security stuff then. I mean, you're just trying to estimate the delay between the server and the client.
Minor correction here. So he described the core NTP protocol. The draft itself is making changes to the NTP client so that metadata such as a transmit timestamp, which is typically set on most implementation to the system's current time, is randomized so that it's hard for third parties to predict when someone is moving based on his NTP traffic. So by randomizing the transmit timestamp, you make it harder for people to track users based on their NTP traffic.
So basically what you're doing for privacy reasons.
Privacy, and as I said in the draft, it also helps with security, just like it has a role to play routing cover draft, similar to insurance request randomization.
And let's this group, what are we doing here and how does it relate to an idea person group? Who wants to answer? Okay, let me get a chance to answer the question.
Hi guys, so for our group is the IQA hackathon. So basically what we're trying to do is see how the OCP can work using the IPv6. OCP is a protocol that's basically used to govern the consistent vehicular communication. So what you're trying to actually do right now is see that it can communicate using IPv6 without breaking anything or without requiring any additional configuration or customization of IPv6. IPv6, yes.
Or you subscribe to the mailing list?
I'm not sure, but I try to keep a secure image, subscribe page.
Okay, I wonder you do. I think it's nice to see everybody, at computer because nowadays we discuss a lot on mailing lists, but we don't see people actually writing code. And writing code is important because this is how stuff works. We can write a nice graph, but if we don't have an implementation of the graph, we won't gain the experience to figure out, okay, this stuff, the spec says we should do X, but when we try to implement it in code, we see that it doesn't work like that. That's a big idea. It is standard, and we are this hackathon where we have actual experience on how the code will work. Then there's also the operational part where when you put your code, you put it on the internet, the why, it works a little differently. And this is where the users complain because, oh, this stuff is not working. Does anybody have any questions? No questions?
Donc ma mission est après le graphe, ça devient érosé. Si ça devient érosé, comment les entreprises commerciales peuvent implémenter cela dans les équipements et comment ça se passe l'implémentation pour devenir une réalité commercialisée, comment ça se passe et quelles seront les récompenses pour ceux qui ont inclus ces graphes.
Okay, the question is, last question, I'm going to send it to Charles. Charles, a nice question for you. You write this fancy graph, you spend a lot of time on it, then it becomes an RFC. How do you get companies to implement this standard? And where does the money come from? How do you get money from it? That's the question. Not my question.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of it comes from a need for interoperability. That's really why we have standards to begin with. So a lot of companies, let's say just service providers, they come to Cisco, they go to their other vendors, they want their equipment interoperating. So it's very important that we all support a set of standards. And so that's one of the reasons why the standards exist in the networking space. But in order to get them to actually work, having them on paper does us no good. They actually need to be implemented. We need code, interoperable code that works with them. So that's really one of the reasons for having events like this, is because we can write specs, but there's no way to tell if that spec is implementable, if it's clear, if multiple limitations of that specification will actually interoperate until you start writing the code. And so what we're really trying to do here.
Okay, my question is simple. Let's say I would draft, it becomes an RFC. How do I get Cisco to implement it?
That's just basically a customer request, I guess, and then we implement it. But a lot of these networking standards that we're working on here, we see the value of them being supported by our products. So things like NetConf, RESTConf, not only do we help in the definition of the standard and of Yang, but we're supported in all of our networking equipment, and that's what people here are using. Open Daylight, we're going to look at tomorrow, also supports these same standards. And so that's just an example of how beneficial these standards are. Not only do they support all of Cisco's gear, but other vendors support them as well. Open Daylight, which is an open source project, supports it as well. So we can use all these things together. And the same set of skills that people here are learning about Yang models, about NetConf, about RESTConf, enables them to work with equipment from all these different vendors and to work with the open source projects. So, it's very valuable to the people working with that technology as well.
Okay, I participate in idea. I spent a lot of time idea. La question c'est comment gagner de l'argent avec ça? How do I make money from it? Charles, you are the expert.
What's that?
Question is, I wrote a graph, it becomes an C, I put a lot of effort in this work. How do I make money from it? I know it's a tough question.
Well, it's not direct, right? I mean, the idea is that when you support internet standards, that I think, as I mentioned before, that makes your product or the open source project that you're working on or whatever much more usable by others, because it's not just something that only works with itself. It works with all these other implementations, all these other programs written by other people as well. That's really the value that standards bring us. So when you contribute to the standards, when you implement the standards in your products, you really enable your solution to be relevant to many people, to the whole world, right? Because it's not just that they have to buy equipment from you and only you. They can use things from other people, and they can use your stuff in combination with them. So it really opens up markets to you that would be.
Thank you, Charles. After this, in a few minutes, I have another meeting. I would like to thank Kevin from ISL for inviting me and for holding this nice event. I would like to point out that ISL offered a fellowship to the ITF. I'll let Kevin send it to you. And I would like to thank you for your time. I would like to thank Charles and Cisco for coming to Africa and helping out with this stuff. There's no done. I don't know why. Thank you for helping out. There's meeting. Thank you for helping out. And there's my good friend who is helping out as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, SM. So we want to close for the day. It's now 5 minutes to 6. So finish up what you're doing. Then tomorrow 9 a.m. before 9. Please try to be here before 9. So tomorrow at 9 we'll start again. Tomorrow our agenda is till 9 to. So thank you.
So, as Kevin mentioned, we're going to be wrapping up today. At some point, we're going to go into close. If you want to continue working on stuff, you're more than welcome to. You probably won't be able to stay in this room, but as you can see, everything is accessible on the network. have these slides, you have the internet access, you have your account set up. You're welcome to work on it. But you're also very welcome to take a break and come back. I know.